Hi, buddy. David Dilling here on behalf of Markzware, and today we have an interesting one. Pasted graphics. What is a pasted graphic, and what are they doing in InDesign in the first place? All right, let's dive in here. Oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share us with your colleagues. We really appreciate that. So here we are in FlightCheck. We get a preview of the file. This is an InDesign file, now opened up in FlightCheck. FlightCheck is optional in this tutorial video. However, I think you'll see it's vital and very important in the workflow. So what are pasted graphics? Well, you can read it there, what we have written down, but a pasted graphic is something that it's copied and pasted from another application or even a web browser. So you can copy and paste from Illustrator into InDesign. You can copy and paste from even like Affinity Publisher into InDesign, head blown. You can copy and paste from web browsers, images in web browsers right into InDesign, head blown again. Well, I'll take that back. Head was really blown back in the day when you could actually drag and drop images from web browsers right into InDesign. Caused many a corrupt file. Now we know what a pasted graphic is. Seems quite logical. You can copy and paste from other applications or even a web browser into InDesign. This can be very dangerous when InDesign is more meant for print documents and other sort of presentations which might require the original high-resolution type of file or image. So here are some key characteristics to what a pasted graphic is and how it displays or doesn't. A pasted graphic is embedded, not linked. There's no external link to the original file. Unlike properly placed files, which is very important, embedded files can also lead to file corruption. We've definitely seen that time and time again on our DTP file recovery service. So linking is better. However, embedding files, I understand that. We understand that. People do it all the time. Anne-Marie Concepcion, a InDesign expert, loves to embed her images in her InDesign files. Just be careful. Properly embedded images will show up in the links panel, so that is proper. However, pasted graphics will not show up in the links panel in InDesign. We'll see that in a second. Because it's embedded, you cannot easily update the original. Matter of fact, you probably don't have the original. Once again, the file size can have an impact, so copy and pasting large data pockets can cause your InDesign file to bloat, particularly when going from Illustrator or even like Affinity and pasting into InDesign. It can just blow up your entire file to sizes, you don't want to have. So there are some possible use cases, of course. I mean, if you just need to get a quick little graphic in there to display something, from your internal web page or other documentation, or even just as a placeholder. But don't forget it's a placeholder. And that's where FlightCheck comes in, because InDesign doesn't really tell you where it's at. Well, it also kind of does. That's our little secret here. Even ChatGPT didn't know that. We'll show you that too. So there's two main ways to identify pasted graphics. Like we said, it's not in the links panel. That's where you normally look for your images and artwork. However, it is in what InDesign calls the layers panel. The second option is Markzware FlightCheck, which we're in right now. So what we're going to do is actually start in InDesign and show you how to find pasted graphics in an InDesign file. Maybe you just got handed this InDesign file off to you. A colleague was doing it, or he did it years ago. You don't remember. Here's how you can find where they're at. Okay, so here we are in Adobe InDesign, and we've got your links panel over here, and you got your image right here. Clearly an image, right? But when you click on it, it's not being highlighted over here. Like, it's not showing up in the links panel. Same with this one. Like a properly linked file, you see it jumps right to it. So you see it jumps right to it when you click on something that's properly linked. Something that's not linked, it doesn't show up. So a lot of these graphics here, this was copied from markzware.com, have been copied and pasted into the InDesign file. Let's show you how that works now. We'll jump into Chrome here, and we'll just get this section of the web page. And if we take like an image, like this FlightCheck, logo here, right click, copy image, it says it's copied, and you go over here back to InDesign, you do Command V on the Mac or edit, paste, and there you have it. You got to resize it now. Now we have a little graphic there. You'll see it doesn't show up in the links panel. And if we now save this file, if we go back to FlightCheck here, it'll tell you it's been modified, and recheck the file, and it should give you a new preview with the FlightCheck right There you see it with the FlightCheck now showing up in the preview. So very cool, right? So that's how you can get pasted graphics in InDesign. Pretty self-explanatory. But where are they? All right, let's jump to the chase. Under Window in InDesign, you're going to have something called Layers. I already have it open. It's right here. And under Layers, you're going to get this sort of situation. You have one layer in this. There's actually technically one layer in this InDesign file. Now, of course, there's more layers. That's what's confusing. I mean, all of these are layers. You can move to back, you can move forward, you can do right. But in this case, the layer is referring to all these pasted graphics. And they consider all the graphics as all one layer, even though, once again, they'll position differently on the page layout here. So it's very interesting. And as you can see, we can go in there and we can then see that these are pasted graphics. What's strange, it doesn't actually take you to where they are. So you can see how this gets very messy the bigger the file gets. You can turn them off. But once again, you don't know where they are, so why would you want to turn them off? So it's kind of interesting. FlightCheck has two modes. We're now in the inventory mode, and if I click up there, it switches to the pre-flight mode, where you get a list of potential problems. Under Embedded, you're going to see a bunch of images. These are the pasted graphics. And you can see one after the other where they're at and what they are. Even this one, look at that. Creator, Serif Affinity Publisher. We got to correct that. It's just Affinity Publisher now. Canva has purchased from Serif the Affinity line, just Affinity Publisher. I copied and pasted that from a Affinity file I had for the soccer club here, and this is what it tells you. So we actually see and preserve the information where the paste came from, which InDesign didn't tell you. FlightCheck does. Very handy. You now know where to go find this. Actually, this file was originally created in Illustrator, but that's another story. And there's a bunch of other information that FlightCheck will warn you about. Yellow are warnings, red are problems, based on under pre-flight show ground controls. So there we can see all the different checks, such as embedded. Maybe we want to show that as an error to forecome problems. Maybe some people want it embedded for whatever reason. And that does have uses, because when it's embedded, you don't need to collect or package a job with all the individual fonts and images, but in any event, without the images to send to the next person. So we check for a bunch of things. They're scaled. And also we check for usage of AI, which is very, very handy as well, and content credentials, which is a new initiative from Adobe, which I really think is a great idea, and I hope it really catches on. Very, very powerful possibilities with that, particularly in this AI generation of we need more transparency. And I'm not talking about transparency that you adjust in your designs. FlightCheck will find, display, and preview the pasted graphics, so you know exactly where they are. Now, if you want to get into actually going in, let's say, and embedding this, FlightCheck says it's embedded, but to properly embed it in InDesign, we can now say Edit in InDesign and FlightCheck. It'll take us right into InDesign, and look at that. It selects the exact problem. We didn't even have to do it. Boom. So this is really handy. FlightCheck can be your guide to taking you back and forth between in your InDesign layouts. The bigger the InDesign file, the more handy FlightCheck's going to be for you. There is another option that would help is in FlightCheck. It'll help you get all these graphics together. Because if you go to InDesign, another thing important to see here, if you go to InDesign, go to File Package, you'll see it doesn't see, it just doesn't see the pasted graphics. They don't exist. But they're there. We know they're there. We see them, right? Summary. Where's those so-called layers, as they call it? Amazing, right? Isn't it just amazing that this just isn't showing up there? So anyway, when you package, just to show you, copy fonts, copy link graphics, update graphic links in package, include fonts, include IDML, no, we don't need all that. But anyway, package, right, et cetera, et cetera. And then what you get, FlightCheck tells us, recheck it. Very good, FlightCheck. What you get is everything in the folder, the IDML and the InDesign file. You get your fonts and your font, the entire font family. And then you get the placed images. You won't see one of the actual. This one I took a screenshot to make it bigger. So that one is placed, but all the rest are also placed. Not one of the pasted graphics over here are in there. And InDesign takes right to the problem. Where is it? Where is it? It's not there. So this is the beauty of FlightCheck. It'll do things that Adobe can't do. Make it clear, FlightCheck will allow you to get all these images. You can extract them one by one, or you can go to FlightCheck package, similar to what Adobe does. However, we can even zip up the file. Or just replace the test. We will get all the pasted graphics in there. We'll give you a FlightCheck folder, say, watch out, there's problems in this file. Good for the next person in the workflow. If we open that up, what we see, we get all the different reports. We get all of the images. We get all of the fonts. We get also the so-called extracted images. And there they are. There are all the pasted graphics that we took from web browsers and this one from Affinity Publisher and pasted into InDesign. So this is really, really quite amazing. And here's we also give a page-by-page preview of the document if you want to use that for social media or what have you. We also have the file recovery service, which unfortunately is very popular and is a flat-out true 5 out of 5 reviews. I mean, you don't have your 4.5 and a bunch of 5s. No, this is like all 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And we fix bad files. Like I said, a lot of this has to do with embedding too many files into InDesign files. But check it out for yourself. There's just a ton of reviews here. Lifesaver, Fast Professional, Save My Project, Best Service and Ability. This is amazing. Error code 6 fixed, etc., etc., etc. All right, so that's the end of the presentation. We're here to help, so feel free to reach out on us at sales@markzware.com or even email me personally, david@markzware.nl. I'm over here in the Netherlands handling Europe and other parts of the world, but I'll help anyone anywhere, even Antarctica. There's a lot of scientists down there. They make a lot of, documents. I'm sure there's InDesign users on Antarctica, right? And Canva users and Affinity Publisher users. And we're here to help, whether you're in Antarctica or Albania or Austria. Just let us know. But I think you see that FlightCheck, just by downloading the FlightCheck demo, will help you a lot. And you'll see the advantages to using FlightCheck. It'll see things that InDesign and Adobe won't see. We'll do stuff that others can't do, all right in the program. So check it out today over on Markzware.com. But in general, this tip about linked files versus embedded, but more importantly, what are pasted graphics, I think is very clear. Pasted graphics is something pretty common in graphic design world, particularly for less experienced designers. And there's a lot of them out there. But even professionals alike, we're all doing once in a while a quick copy and paste just to get the idea off to somebody. But where does it go after that? That's the importance of what a pasted graphic is and what it's not, and how FlightCheck can help you find those. All right, everybody, David Dilling from Markzware wishing you a fantastic day. Take care.